Do you know who I am? Of course you don't. My name is Jason, and I'm coming to you from the beautiful city of St. Louis, Missouri. And this is episode 1 of the Anthem of Impact Wrestling show. Now, today I am just going to talk about myself, really kind of a little bit, and then here after a bit I'm going to kind of go back over what happened in the WWE on the Superstar Shakeup, and of course what happened whenever Team GOAT faced off against Team JB on Impact Wrestling. So start things off, like I said, I just want to kind of let everybody that's tuning into my channel, tuning into this show, a little bit about myself, who I am, what kind of wrestling fan I am, why I got into wrestling and stuff like that. So we're going to start off, I got into wrestling back in 1995, was a huge fan growing up at WCW, mainly it was Sting, Ric Flair, Lex Luger. It really kind of got me really hooked, especially Sting, man. Sting's probably my all-time favorite wrestler. He was kind of the whole package. Yeah, he wasn't great on promos, but back then as a little kid, you didn't really know, you didn't care. But just his ability to really, just his charisma and everything that he had with him, Sting was the best, still is to me. Just he's my favorite. Then you go down the line, start watching WWF a little bit, and of course did the same thing everybody did back in junior high and high school. You flip back and forth. That's what you're doing. You went back between Nitro and Raw. And then, of course, Thunder and SmackDown later on. But my heart always kind of lived with WCW. Then I watched wrestling like my freshman year of high school, a little bit more in my sophomore year of high school. Then I kind of went out. The more and more I played sports, because you start playing your games on nights like Raw's on or whatever. You just have other things going on, and kind of fell out of wrestling for a little bit. Went on to play college football at Missouri Valley College. Played there for a year, and kind of fell out of wrestling again, and just didn't really watch it. Really wasn't, WCW by then was way gone. WWF was not good, and it was just, other things, other interests. I was getting to that age, it was just something different. Then there was one day, and I don't know why I was doing this, to be honest with you, but I was like, a lot of times just to pass time, I'd be on the internet and I'd be looking up, I know it was in the springtime because it was either like NBA mock drafts or NFL mock drafts or something. I was looking through a bunch of those and just was like, I'm kind of bored. I'm going to see if some of these old wrestling websites are still up or whatever. I was looking at like NWO.com, WCW.com. And for some weird reason, there was like a Google search or something, and a new wrestling promotion was one of the lines. And of course, I'm like, what's this? So I click on it, and like, roster, let's see who's all on this roster. And it was Jeff Jarrett, and Konnan, and BG Jane, Road Dogg, Ron the Truth Killings, I knew him as K-Quick at the time. I'm like, oh, damn. Wow, like, they're all on here? Man, I gotta find, and of course, the top little banner, this whenever they're on Fox Sports. I'm like, man, I gotta tune in. They're on like 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Man, I made sure I was there to watch it. It got me hooked, man. Got me right back into wrestling. Especially one guy, and that is the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. AJ Styles is probably one of my top 5 all-time favorite wrestlers. I mean, you gotta have Ric Flair, Undertaker, Sting, AJ, Shawn Michaels. I mean, that's probably the 5 right there. You gotta, then you, of course, you got Macho Man and some of the others, but those are probably some of the, the 5 of my I love everything about what they have done for the wrestling business. So I got hooked on Impact, started watching it weekly. Never bought the pay-per-views for a while, just money situations, just couldn't afford it, couldn't justify ordering weekly pay-per-views. Then shortly, just kept going. They got on Spike and just really got hooked. And then of course that got me rewatching WWE again a little bit. And then now that I'm an adult and I actually know I'm more interested in the ins and outs of the pro wrestling business and the bookings of it and how it all works. So, I start diving more into that. Start watching Ring of Honor and start thinking of, start finding about promotions in Mexico and Japan and all those stuff. So that's kind of where I'm at. I love pro wrestling as a whole. Um, Absolutely love it. It's just entertaining. It's fun. Um, Sometimes it can be very, frustrating to watch whenever it's just like, why? Why are you doing that? Why did you book it like that? Why? But, I don't work in the business, so who am I to say? I can only sit there and complain and then just move on. So anyway, that's kind of the quick history of me in professional wrestling, why, what got me started, who I like. Hopefully that kind of sets up for whenever I start doing my reviews and reaction shows, that you'll understand where I'm coming from with certain ideas or why I liked what happened whenever you at home might not like what happened. And that's great. That's what pro wrestling is. It's everybody having a different perspective whenever they go in to watch it, so they interpret it in a different way. It's just gonna happen. That's kind of the way life is. Period. That's why. You might be a Republican, you might be a Democrat, you might be a Libertarian, you might be. It doesn't matter. We all have a different perspective on how things work. Now, what we should all do, not only in life but especially in pro wrestling, because we'll stick to pro wrestling, is say it's okay for you to see it that way, and it's okay for me to see it that way, or my way. And it doesn't matter. Like, just because you think it was shit and I think it was great, doesn't mean it was either of those. Probably means that they did their job, because everybody's seeing it in a different way. Everybody is buying into it, so their emotions are being, taken one way or the other. And that's one thing that the wrestling community, especially, the diehards and the hardcore fans, we don't like to agree with other people on how they think unless they think it's how we take it. So that's what I want out of this show. I want to be able to have good, fun wrestling discussions. People want to come on here and bash other people's, thoughts in the comment section. Do what you got to do. Do it, whatever makes you feel better. But you won't ever see me come on here talk bad about other YouTubers, other wrestling dirt sheets, any of those places. If all they can get, or if all they want to do is take their time and effort out of their life to bash a company, to bash a wrestler, to bash certain things, hey man, more power to you. I'm not going to waste my time reading it. I'm not going to waste my time watching it. In fact, there have been, I used to subscribe to a couple different YouTube channels. At first it was kind of funny the way that they, would bash certain things or whatever. Then it kind of got a little annoying to where, like, I was like, well, depending on what they talk about, I'll flip on. Or I'd start turning off the show like halfway through or whatever. It got so bad, I just unsubscribed. I'm just not watching them. It's not worth my time. It's not worth my time or effort. For them to bash any company, I don't care if it's WWE, Impact, Ring of Honor, Lucha, New Japan, I don't care. So, that's what I want this show to be. I want it to be fun. I want it to be a good discussion where people can come into the comments, or hit me up on Twitter, or hit each other up on Twitter, and just have good, fun conversations and get to know people, and just try to enjoy pro wrestling for what it is, and that's entertainment, and that's an escape from reality. And sometimes I think that's where pro wrestling right now struggles a lot, is trying to find that thin line between fantasy and reality. What do you want pro wrestling to be? A fantasy? An escape? A different universe, like a different realm? Or them to be more realistic? And thanks to MMA becoming so popular, I think that's why it is so hard. Like, that's so popular. Maybe if we kind of did more shoots, or we did, try to make it more real. And sometimes that's where you get the bad booking and you know, like the bad writing, because whenever you're trying to make something that's not real, it doesn't come off right. You know, that's whenever you get like the Bray Wyatt Randy Orton feud going into WrestleMania. It was really good because they stayed away from that, like the crazy supernatural stuff. Obviously, they did that's Bray Wyatt. They have to do something. They stayed away from like the really crazy stuff. Then, like 2 weeks before WrestleMania, it was, hey Bray, I was kidding, burning your house down. Oh yeah, well I'll one up you because now I'm rubbing the ashes all over me. Now I have Sister Abigail's power. But he didn't really like destroy anybody or do anything different once he got the power, which is weird. Then Bray was like, hey, I'm taking you down with whatever the Crucifix or whatever the hell he said it was. Then Bray's like, then Orton's like, next week I'm going to one up you again. I'm going to have this, and now I'm stabbing the ashes of Sister Abigail, and too much. That's whenever it gets to be too much, because then you're sitting there going, wait, this is trying to be real. Why is Orton not in jail? Why is he still getting a title shot? You know, it just... But that's pro wrestling. You know, at the end of the day, you got to realize it's just a show, and you just sit there and go, no, oh well. All right, let's see what they do next week then. So, but that's that's kind of that. So as far as this show, my Impact reviews will be my number one priority, because there's not a lot of Impact stuff up on YouTube, and I feel like there's a need for it, there's a want for it, there's a demand for it. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna have fun with it. You know, I'm not here to make money. You know, I know there's that stuff going around about YouTube. You know, change a lot of stuff. I'm not monetizing my stuff. I don't care. I know there's also like a rule of like you have to have like 10,000 views or whatever. So, but anyway, regardless, I am not trying to make any money off of this. I am just doing this to have some talk with some wrestling people, to get my views out there, and that's it. You know, just to have fun. So, like I said, I'm going to try to do my Impact reviews, load them up Friday afternoon evenings. Those are usually the best time. And then, thinking either Saturday or Sundays, I'll do another shorter episode that I'll just kind of call like the Anthem of the Universe or whatever. And it's going to be more of like a weekend wrestling review type thing. So I'll talk about Raw, SmackDown, maybe NXT. I don't know. I've kind of stopped watching NXT. It's kind of gotten boring. But Lucha Underground, whenever it's on, I might talk about whatever popular news might come up, stuff like that on the Saturday or Sunday show. Haven't quite decided on that one, on which day exactly I'll put it up. Yeah, so let's see here. What else? Let's go ahead and get into this week's version of the Universe, or Anthem of the Universe. Let's go ahead and start off with the Superstar Shakeup. I'll just kind of touch up on that. I'm not going to go into anything else because nothing was worth talking about. The shows were pretty boring outside of the getting to see who was flipping where. With Raw, I mean, everybody by now knows who's on what show, so I'm not going to go through each and everything. But as Raw was going on, man, I'm sitting there going, man, they're killing They're literally taking everything that was working on SmackDown and put it on Raw. The only thing that they didn't move was AJ, which had me hopeful that they were going to put the club, Gallows and Anderson, over there with them and reunite them and finally have, the club that worked the best while they were there, all three of those guys together. Of course, that didn't happen. But man, I was like, they're killing SmackDown because I have already bought tickets to the June 18th pay-per-view Money in the Bank, which is a SmackDown pay-per-view, and I got it because it's SmackDown, and I wanted to see AJ, and I wanted to see Bray, and some of these other things. So I was like, man, like nobody's left. Nobody. It's gonna be Randy Orton versus Baron Corbin for like the title or something. I'm not even like something like that. I don't know, but it was like not looking good. And I knew that obviously there was like a second part to it, so I knew there was going to be changing, but I was like, there's really not a whole, because at that time I'm thinking, They're not moving KO because he's supposed to be joining this group with Triple H. Why? And Triple H isn't going to SmackDown, so there's that. They're not moving Joe over because of the same reason. They're not moving Seth Rollins over. They're not going to move Roman Reigns over, especially not after they basically wrote him off the TV for a while. I don't see them moving Strowman over. Goldberg's not going to... Well, Goldberg's not. They're not moving Brock Lesnar over. I mean, it's like... Nope. There's nobody that they could have moved over to SmackDown that really would have been like, okay, here we go. And then, of course, we go to SmackDown, and boom, there's Kevin Owens. I'm like, okay. Well, one, I'm glad he's on SmackDown. I think he's going to be amazing on SmackDown, but they're just going to just drop that whole thing with... So he never got his rematch at Brock? Nothing? Okay. Well, whatever. Fine. If this is just a full-blown restart, okay, cool. Then, of course, here comes Sami Zayn. Yes. And now I'm starting to get excited again. I'm like, yes, okay, this it's going to be a fun, good wrestling show now. And then, of course, the Shining Stars debut. That was disappointment number one. And then they quickly followed it up with disappointment number two, which is Jinder Mahal. I'm not trying to, crap all over these guys at all. Just, it's the way that they were booked, their characters, whatever. So it's not like, I know that Jinder's nothing more than enhancement talent. So it's kind of like, okay, well, there's the switch with Kurt Hawkins. Then the best reveal was whenever they went to the video packages. Rusev is finally on SmackDown. That's great. I'm happy about that. So now you kind of look overall at the SmackDown roster, and you have Nakamura, Ty Dillinger, Orton, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Rusev, AJ, Dolph, which you can say again that's his booking, but he himself is super talented in the ring, can put on great matches with anybody. I'm actually pretty excited to see what Nakamura and Dolph can do. I think it could be good. It's kind of a weird rivalry, but as far as in-ring talent goes, I think they could put on a pretty good match. See what else with the Superstar shakeup. Oh, here's actually another great example with the whole mixing fantasy and reality and how sometimes things just don't work right. So the announcers on Raw mentioned how all weekend long and leading up to tonight's Raw, they've been negotiating trades, the two GMs, Angle and Daniel Bryan. So why did it seem like Kurt didn't know, but did know, who was staying and who was going, and why were they allowed to be on Raw? It just didn't make any sense. Those are the things. It's like those are the little gaping story holes that WWE really likes to have in all their feuds and stories and stuff that just don't make any sense. It just leaves you to go, wait, what are you talking about? Why wouldn't you know if Sammy's being traded or not? What do you mean? You just got 10 Raw guys, which means you should know that at least 10 of your guys are going to SmackDown. You should know who they are. You already did the trades, right? So those are the things that you sit there and go, okay, stop messing with our intelligence. You should have just done a draft, or you should have done a full episode where it was a super show and you guys traded. And that was it. I don't know. Maybe do a YouTube show. Where they could have done it, Monday afternoon or on a Sunday. Do it on the network, something where it was just a show, an hour-long show or something. You guys did your trades and whatever else. Done. Easy. But anyway, so that was the WWE for the week, pretty much in a nutshell, because nothing else on those two shows mattered. We'll see where that goes after Payback, because I don't think you're going to see much on those two shows either after Payback, as far as really diving into stories and feuds. I really don't. I just don't see it happening until after Payback, because on Payback you got two cross-promotional matches on Payback. So again, I don't know. So moving on to the main event. Impact Wrestling Thursday night. What an amazing show! I was having so much fun watching Impact on Thursday night. And another good thing is probably, at least, hopefully, the end of the announcers bickering throughout the episode. Which, outside of the first episode, they did fine with it. You know, they try to keep it more towards in between matches than actually during the match. If they were bickering during the match, they would talk about, they were bickering about their opinions on what was happening in the ring, which is fine. That's usually what happens between a heel and a face announcer. So those weren't too bad. But it's going to be nice not having that. It's going to be interesting to see what they're doing with Josh. I would like him as either like a manager or something. That'd be great. Or they could just keep him off the show and have him as like the social media guy. Kind of do like what JB was doing for a while, where he was like hosting Spin Cycle, hosting this, have him host all the digital shorts, have him host maybe some stuff on the Fight TV app, have him host some stuff on the TNA Total Access app, and hopefully they'll be bringing that over to the US. That'd be great, because even though I have a ton, and I mean a ton, of old Impact TNA DVDs, it'd be great to have them all like, kind of like how the WWE Network has it all right there. I can just watch whichever, because there's a lot that I do that I don't have. I mean, I have a lot, but there's a lot that I don't have that I would like to rewatch that I don't want to have to, go order online for. So you get that. Some interesting things though, man, that EC3 heel turn, it's got to be coming. But this has been amazing. It's been an amazing slow burn with EC3. He's so good. He is so good at what he does. And just the little things, man. And I started picking up on him because that first episode where he's like looking down at that new logo and just not stepping on it or walking around it, or just these little things that got you interested. If you want to try to catch it, and then it has you interested, going, why is he doing that? Wait, what is this? Is this a work? Is this a shoe? What's going on? And then just like little things, like I think a lot of wrestlers in that first segment where it was Lashley and El Patron and Bruce Pritchard talking about, who's going to get this title match. I think a lot of other wrestlers would have just kind of stood in the back and kind of been like, Instead, Ethan is just big time facial expressions on his face. Just, what? I'm here. What do you do? What do you thought? I'm right here. I need this title match, And he's just been doing great stuff. Just little things, just here and there. And then whenever he finally came out after they announced the whole Storm thing, Storm getting that title match, like, he's just so good at what he does. He's great on the mic. He's very good in the ring. He's good. And he's the guy that's going to lead Impact into the future and get them back on top as far as, like a lot of fans have been mad about the whole Make Impact great again. I don't think they're talking about what the wrestlers busted their ass doing while, that whole time. They just mean getting their notoriety back, getting that image back of, no, we're not a crappy company. No, we don't have bad owners. No, we're not trying to screw people out of money. We're trying to make Impact great again, to where Spike wanted us, Fox Sports wanted us. We got guys like Kurt Angle and Christian Cage and Sting and Booker and we got all these guys to believe in us, and they came in to try to help out and get this company to that next level. I think that's what they're talking about whenever they're referencing Make Impact great again, and that's what I think too, because I think definitely those shows, especially that last 2 months going into sorry, my eyes kind of like twitching on me, going into the whole Anthem buying them out thing, were great. They were really good episodes. They were great shows, but Impact's just got this stigma on them where everybody loves to crap all over it, no matter what. No matter what. In fact, earlier today, saw on Twitter, somebody posted up a bunch of people, fans were making fun of Congo Kong and, the way he looks and blah, blah, blah. It's like, and I said on there, I'm like, look, whenever Samoa Joe first showed up, that was the only crack on Samoa Joe. That's all they could say. Oh, he's fat. Oh, he doesn't get in shape. Oh, have another donut. Have another cheeseburger, Samoa Joe. You know, now he's in the WWE kicking ass, and all the fans love him. They can't get enough of Samoa Joe, because Samoa Joe is a badass. He's great. He's another one that's just phenomenal. So anyway, so the EC3 heel turn, it's gotta happen. I cannot wait. I as much as I don't know. Next week is gonna be so good. Man, and this is why I love pro wrestling, and this is why I think Impact is the best, because I'm going into next week's live show. We don't know what's gonna happen because it's gonna be live. Well, at least semi-live probably. They'll probably do that tape delay live show. But you got Lashley versus James Storm. Man, I love Lashley. I want Lashley to keep the title. But James Storm, who's one of the all-time best, man, I'd love for him to get another shot at that title and hold on to it for like a while. Hold on to it for longer than a week. And I just don't know. But at the same time, there's part of me that's like, I'd love to see that in the show with EC3 coming in before the match is over with, throwing out the match by beating up both of them with like a chair or something and laying them both flat, holding up that title high and just being like, this is my show. I told you this is my show. This is EC3's title. Boom, fade to black, whatever. You know, that I would love to see that too, man. And, you know, I have no reason to tune in on Monday or Tuesday. They left me with no reason to tune in on those 2 days. None. In fact, the last match on Tuesday was a triple threat match to see who was going to face the winner of the U.S. title match. I guess be in like 2 more weeks. So really, you left me with the cliffhanger of, hey, tune in 3 weeks. Okay, I will. I'll tune in 3 weeks. Meanwhile, I'm going to be watching Impact Wrestling. So, let's see here. What else to talk about on that? The mixed tag match. Man. Another one. That was just fun match, man. Braxton Sutter and Allie are amazing together. I'm so glad that they're finally having them. It was a long story. It was a great story to get to it, but I'm just glad that now they finally are like, okay, they're really married, so we're just gonna have them as a couple. Now we'll have their 2 characters be a couple because they have great chemistry together. Obviously, they're married in real life, and yeah, it's just great. I just hope that now the story will get Allie to finally kind of develop into who she actually is and what she does as Cherry Bombs in the independent scene. Because she's one of the best women's wrestlers out there on the independent scene. Whenever she is that gimmick, so hopefully they'll start morphing Allie into, she can still obviously go by Allie. I'm not saying make her Cherry Bombs. No, just maybe let her be that good in the ring. Don't have her this little novice maybe. Oh, there's an arm drag. Oh yeah, I did it. Have her actually do something. Be a wrestler. KM's a beast. Needs a little bit more work on promos, but I think that just comes from being on TV. Doing a promo probably in a small little dinky independent show, a little different than knowing that you're in front of a camera that's about to broadcast all over the world. I'm sure that's a whole different set of nerves. Because I think what he says and how he says it is really good. It comes off as kind of choppy or like he does have nerves, But other than that, great intensity, great moveset. For a bigger guy, he actually does move fairly well in the ring. And he's got a good look, got a good big look to him. The KN name, though, is a little lazy because he goes by Kevin Matthews on the independents and because he's formerly with Global Force. So I don't know why not. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't want people thinking there's a connection between him and Josh. I don't know, but KM, sure, whatever, cool. And then of course the debut of Congo Kong, the Fury, has been unleashed. So that was good. That was fun. He's he's one of those guys too that I remember whenever Global Force first putting together their roster, and he was part of that. And I was kind of like, okay, I don't know, this guy, I don't know if he's gonna be any good. Went and looked up some stuff on YouTube on the internet, and man, he can go. Him and Magnus had a pretty good match one time for Global Force. So it'll be interesting to see how they use him in Impact, and it'll be fun. I was thinking too during that match, or whenever Congo Khan was coming out, I just started thinking about like, man, him versus Fallah Bahh. How fun would that be? Two massive men just going at it. Oh, that'd be good. The whole, and then of course, with that Congo Kong thing, the whole storyline of the Sienna, Laurel Van Ness, Congo Kong, Ali, Sutter, man, that's some great storytelling, dude. Just good storytelling. You're buying in. I feel myself buying in and, really rooting for Sutter and Ali to come on top. I just do. I just think it's been a lot of fun to follow, and a lot of fun to see how it's been developing. It's been a lot of good stuff. Then we had, of course, Rosemary versus Santana Garrett. Again, Santana Garrett. I don't know exactly if they're signing these people or if they're just signing them to like a pure appearance thing, and they just showed up to do a match here and there or not. But man, Santana Garrett. I know she was in Impact at one time. And didn't go by Santana Garrett, whatever. I can't remember what name she went by, but man, she's good. She is so good, and they need to sign her, big time. I think matches with her and Diamante, and of course she had just that match with Rosemary was so good, such a fun, good match. If we had Santana Garrett. Or another person that I'd love us to see Impact go get is Tessa Blanchard. Man, she's good. With the bringing in of the MJ Jenkins or Diamante, some of the other ones, I think they could all have really good matches and a lot of fun stuff, especially if they finally do bring Angelina back into the knockout mix. If you can have a good roster of Rosemary, Gail Kim, Angelina Love, Madison Rayne, Brandy Rhodes, Santana Garrett, MJ Jenkins, Diamante, ODB, and there's a name I'm forgetting, man. Laurel Van Ness, Sienna. I mean, that right there. I mean, that's a true women's revolution going on right there, not in the Impact Wrestling zone. See, we also had the X Division match. With Suicide, man, I really want to see them dive into more of a darker gimmick and darker storyline with this guy. I really hope this time he's not just a character that just comes out and runs around and does what he does. They need to put a storyline with him. They need to now do more of those backstage stuff, do more vignettes of, establishing who Suicide is. As far as not who he is under the mask, but more of the why he is who he is, and give us that. Don't, especially now, because I guarantee a lot of people, even people that did buy the TNA Impact video game, doesn't remember that story, doesn't really remember why or what the hell happened or who. They don't even care because it was not the best video game in the world. But yeah, I want them to really just dive into that. You got Andrew Everett, who is so talented. I wish, I hate saying this, but I wish he would get a little bit more into shape. Like, he's not super out of shape, but he looks like an old hillbilly, bare belly gut guy that's just out there running around and flipping around and stuff. Sorry, I just do. He's super talented, and I like him. I really do. He actually reminds me, especially with this theme song, it kind of reminds me of, Matt Bentley back in the day. You could really kind of push him in that direction. I think the fans would really get behind him. I'm just whenever he's just flipping around the ring, he's just got that just random cut out of nowhere. It's just kind of, it's a little different whenever you got somebody that's, just kind of big, like Samoa Joe. He's already a bigger dude, so him being heavy set or out of shape doesn't bother me. whenever a guy is like fairly skinny but just has this weird like flabby out of nowhere gut, like it just looks odd to me and it's weird. But that takes nothing away from his talent or how I want him to be used or anything like that. Because he's probably got the most amazing looking shooting star press I've ever seen. Like, just the way he, like, pauses in, like, midair and then does, like, this quick jerky, flip to land. It's so good. It's really good. Let's see here. What else should we talk about? Oh, yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the main event, man. That main event was amazing. Mainly because just the visual of it. You had so many like dream match scenario type things there, man. You got with Team JB, you had Magnus, El Patron, Chris Adonis, and Matt Morgan. Which, by the way, Magnus, Adonis, and Morgan, I hope they're all signed to Impact Wrestling. I hope they're on for more and more stuff, not just like what. I hope they weren't just brought in to do the storyline. Like, I really hope that they continue and they show up on Thursday night, and start really getting involved. Because I think that just even bolsters this roster even better. And now you can sit there and go, Mike Bennett who? Hardy Boys who? Drew who? Because Drew, I don't know. Is he Galloway? Is he McIntyre? I don't know. Nobody knows who he is anymore. But yeah, it was great to see. It was so much fun. Team GOAT was Bram, Eli Drake, Tyrus, and Bobby Lashley. I mean, that's just... And right there, within 2 seconds, Bram and Tyrus went from being just kind of there to main event guys just because of who they were surrounded with. It elevates who they are and their status in the company just by being in that ring and being considered as, hey, we wanted you, and you to represent this, With El Patron, the more and more I think about it, and I've seen some of his little like Snapchat videos, whatever they are, that he's been uploading with Paige. He talks very highly of Impact, and especially against the WWE. And it just kind of has me feeling like he could be for Impact now what Angle was for Impact whenever he first showed up. Because Angle bought in to Impact. And, I mean, I just saw somebody post an interview that he did with, I think it was Chris Jericho, where he said, look, I'm not going to lie to you. My TNA run was much better than my WWE run. It just was. He enjoyed it more. And that just goes to show that Kurt bought in and was like, hey, Impact is good, and it's my home. And I think Del Rio, El Patron is kind of doing the same thing. Might be out of spite, but regardless why it is, I think he could be that. Hopefully, the rumor is that he's just kind of working on a gentleman's deal, just kind of like, hey, you show up, we pay you. But hopefully they lock him up and give him a contract if he wants one. Make him more exclusive to Impact. Because I think he would be a guy that you could send on different shows and promote, and I think he would do a very good job of it. And I think he would want to. Hopefully, some way, somehow, I know it's a long shot, but they end up getting Paige over to Impact too, because that would be awesome. See Paige versus like Gail Kim, and Paige versus somebody like Diamante or Rosemary. Paige versus Rosemary could be insane. It'd be so good. Let's see here. Yeah, just the overall storyline of that was just, I think, a lot of fun, interesting. It brought out a lot of emotions, especially from other people that absolutely bought in and hate Josh Matthews with a passion. I don't hate Josh Matthews. I think some of the way he calls certain things can get annoying, but I don't think it's him. It's just his accent. He's got a really weird accent. I hated it whenever he would say Maria Kanellis. Maria Canella. However he said it. It's just his accent. I mean, you can't hate the guy because he has a weird accent, but he does, and it just. But now, hopefully, we'll have JB and the Pope. If they want to stick to a third or three-man booth or something, the rumors that they were thinking about bringing back Mike Tenay. I think Mike Tenay would be great with those two. Somebody that I've always wanted in Impact and who I think would be insane would be Joey Styles. I think Joey Styles could be that voice of Impact Wrestling. I don't know how well he'd work with others. And what I mean by that is, I know he did some of that at the end of ECW, but whenever he was the lead guy, like on Raw, and then on ECW, the WWE version of ECW, like it kind of takes away from the magic of what Joey can do whenever he has to work with other people. Because he's really good at just sitting down by himself and just unloading information and unloading a bunch of emotion and telling you a story without telling you a story. Like, he's just really kind of calling a match, but with his different emotions that he puts through his voice, that's how he's kind of telling you the story. But I think he would be good. I think he would be good if it was just him and JB, and then get Pope back in the ring, because Pope's another one that I've really enjoyed in the ring. But, if they do a three-man booth, I think Mike Tenay would probably be the best fit. Get Mike Tenay, JB, and the Pope. Or, since they already have him there, have JB the main voice. Have Pope as kind of the main caller guy, analyst. And then you got D-Dub. Put in Don West as kind of that third voice guy. I'm more of a fan of just the two-man booth, regardless. But, if they want to stick with the three, I think fans would love hearing Don West's voice again. I think it'd be a lot of fun. So that was Impact. I enjoy it. I cannot wait for Thursday night. Thursday night, you're going to see Bobby Lashley versus James Storm for the World Heavyweight Championship. You got Rosemary versus ODB for the Knockouts Championship. Got a next division match. Trevor Lee, Andrew Everett, Suicide DJZ, and then a mystery guy. Now, there's 3 guys so far that have been rumored to be showing up on Thursday night, or at least at these tapings, which should be interesting. Be really cool to see these 3 guys. Hopefully we see some of the people we've been seeing on the last tapings continue. Maybe we'll see some new guys. I don't know. Some other new guys. Some bigger, name new guys. I don't know. It should be interesting. Hopefully we don't have too many spoilers leading up to that live show. I try not to see them, but then you'll have one or two of these wrestling sites on Twitter, instead of being like, spoiler, click this link to read. No, it's just a picture right there that says, this person's here. Or this person won title, and it's showing somebody holding up a title, and you're like, oh my god. Because I can't just stay off Twitter for 4 or 5 days in a row. I look on Twitter for other things besides wrestling. I follow all my favorite sports teams and all, the writers that deal with that. So I'm looking, especially right now, I'm looking at stuff with spring ball for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. I'm looking at possible updates on trades or draft rumors for the Texans. We got Cardinal baseball going, so sometimes I have to follow the Cardinals Twitter just to kind of follow along with the game because I'm at work or whatever else. I can't just stay off Twitter. But so sometimes things get ruined, and that sucks. But hopefully not too much will get ruined leading into that at least the live episode. So everybody, that was the first episode of the Anthem of Impact. And hope you guys like it. Again, please subscribe, turn on the notifications, leave comments, like the video, or hell, even if you want to, dislike the video. If you think I suck, I don't care. You can dislike it all you want. Have fun. Also, follow me on Twitter at Anthem of Impact. and my personal one at Chef Jason 98, because yes, I am a chef. It's not just like some weird, I didn't just come up with it. I am a chef. I'm a sous chef here in the St. Louis area. So, follow me on those two Twitters, subscribe, do everything, because on Twitter I will update you guys on when I will be posting these videos. Like I said, Friday will be episode 2, which will be the first review and reaction show for Impact Wrestling. Look for another episode that weekend of a weekend review show. And coming up, I will have a Pro Wrestling Crate unboxing video. Of course, just the other day I did a Pro Wrestling Loot unboxing, which was a pretty good box. So go check that video out if you have not already. And then check out the unboxing that I'll be doing for Pro Wrestling Crate. Again, hey, thanks for watching. Peace. Go have fun.